Good morning, and thank you for joining me. This presentation will discuss best practices for supporting students through their transition planning. There are generally accepted best education practices for promoting the success of special needs students. This presentation aims to demonstrate some of the best practices for supporting students in the following areas: special education versus ADA, post-secondary education, employment and work skills, independent living, self-determination and self-advocacy, and healthy relationships. There is a wide acknowledgement among educators and literature that the learning needs of disabled children are varied from the needs of students that are typical. As a result, the teaching strategies applied in a special needs classroom vary extensively from the strategies used in a regular classroom. According to Ackpen and Baird, one of the best teaching strategies for children with special needs is integrating special needs education with constructivism. Some of the teaching practices for teaching special needs classes include establishing routines, instructional scaffolding, behavioral plans, graphic organizers, and repetition, to mention a few. The best practices used for special education children vary from the best practices for adults with disabilities. Some of the best teaching practices for teaching adults living with disabilities include using formative tests, giving assignments in different forms, giving immediate feedback, and making activities short, etc. Post-secondary education has gained remarkable traction in the developed and developing world in the recent years. As a result, the development of best educational practices for this level of education has become imperative. The Institution of Educational Sciences developed the best practices for educations in colleges, universities, and other tertiary institutions. One of the best practices is measuring the students' readiness before they begin their programs. Secondly, the students should be advised regularly to remind them why they are in this institution. Thirdly, the students should be offered performance-based incentives. Fourthly, emphasis should be placed on teaching the students to be self-regulated learners. Last but not least, educators should integrate long-lasting support-based programs to reassure the students with disabilities that they can win and they will be successful. Employment and work skills. A remarkable volume of research has criticized the modern education system for failing to equip students with the necessary employment and work skills, particularly for students with disabilities. A good number of students complete school and fail to fit in the job market. Disabled students become highly employable individuals after they've received best practices to help them. Some of the best practices that can be applied in elementary and post-secondary education include teaching problem-solving skills, teaching teamwork and collaboration skills, teaching efficient communication skills, teaching interpersonal skills, teaching entrepreneurship skills, and teaching the students to be flexible and versatile individuals. Independent living. Physical disabilities often limit the ability of the student to learn and live independently. According to Scott, the integration of universal design at school can improve the independence of students living with these disabilities. The universal design concepts for learning should be blended with the academics at the elementary, secondary, and higher levels. Examples of universal design practices include digital audio text, braille, charts, and other technologies and programs that promote universal learning for all students. As a result, students with disabilities may learn independently with minimal assistance. Research proves that self-determination and self-advocacy are necessary for leading a successful life. Therefore, it has become imperative for educators to integrate these skills into the curriculum. The following practices can be used to teach self-advocacy: supporting critical thinking among students, encouraging self-awareness, teaching students how to plan for the future, among some of the others. Some of the best practices for promoting self-determination among students include teaching students to set personal goals, teaching the students to make appropriate choices, and fostering self-confidence. According to Rodriguez, teaching self-determination is integral in the success of teaching students with learning disabilities. Healthy relationships. It is a well-organized fact that healthy relationships are necessary for individual success in school and the real world. Therefore, students with disabilities, particularly in the early stages of their education, must be taught all of the four elements of healthy relationships: respect, trust, safety, and equality. Some of the best practices to teach students about healthy relationships include, but are not limited to, creating awareness about healthy relationships, teaching them the importance of healthy relationships, helping students set boundaries, and foster the formation of relationships on the basis of trust and respect. The conclusion. This presentation has demonstrated some of the best practices that can support the learning for students with disabilities at all levels of education. Integrating these strategies into the district curriculum will help the students with special needs to improve their learning and become successful individuals. Thank you for your valuable time today.